That's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. When it's Android over iPhone, and you can keep your stupid amiibo and always bashing on Nintendo. But that's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. Thanks, Retro Fandango. Wow!
How's that?
What do you know? We got the Ball of Deer live.
I know. He's waiting. He's waiting on us. We have someone waiting, so we better start the show.
Wow. Well,
Welcome.
before we start the show, happy 200.
Oh, happy 200 to you as well. Even though
we did that already.
you pointed out this is 200 of this show, but we've done 200 episodes of something together. We're past it.
Well, we've probably done closer to 250.
You think that many?
If you add up all the film dangos plus side fandangos, we have had trivia contests and a couple things like that. I'd wager we're closer to 250 than we are 200.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if we got to 250, but yeah.
If this were years ago, one of our listeners, multiple listeners, would be eager enough to go out there and check that stuff and let us know.
Well,
Nobody cares now.
To be fair to the listeners, it's not as easy as it used to be because since we moved on Anchor, it carried everything over and then it dropped a bunch of shows. So it's really up to me to archive the shows and put them on archive so people can listen to the old ones. But I haven't done it yet because I'm a lazy man. You know, I just really don't think that many people care. If there was a huge campaign, if there was a huge campaign, people are like, "Hey, I want to listen to the old episodes." But I can't imagine there's that many people that really. I know Kyle has said something. He's been the only one. So,
well, you get on that, Kyle. Well, look at this. We started off and we've already got 3 people in the chat there. Well, 3 people that are commenting.
one of them.
We've got Derek. We've got Duke. And we've got good old Retro Fandango.
Yeah. Fandango's commenting on itself. Full circle. Well, welcome everyone to episode 200 of Retro Fandango. I'm Kevin, here with my buddy Richard.
Hello.
And let me just get some house cleaning out of the way. Even though we're right smack dab at the end of February, I forgot to look up what March's games are. We'll still plug February's games, so why not? Portal 2. That's the game that people are playing in the Cartridge Club. RF Gen is playing James Bond 007 on the Game Boy, which I hear I've heard nothing but good things. So people are liking it. And Beat the Bandy, Beat the Duke. I guess you got a few days to get in there and beat Dr. Jekyll, Batman, Double Dragon 2, and Wizards and Warriors. I wonder if Duke...
2 days, that's all you need.
Duke, has anyone done it? Has anyone beat all the games besides you and Matt Bandy? Haven't been following over there.
I do believe this is more of a Matt versus Duke month.
Yeah.
2-month period.
Yeah, I'd say so. Oh, look at this. Derek says he has all the episodes. I have the episodes all downloaded, but the Anchor ones have GUIDs for names, so harder to count accurately.
Guidos. We don't take those stereotypes here. Racial slurs.
Duke has beaten none of them. This is according to Duke. He's so upset he's referring to himself in third person. Oh my god, the Duke has beat none of them. Wow.
Well, I'll give Duke a pass because he's been resurrecting a television.
Yeah,
and I've been following it every step of the way. Yeah, congratulations, Duke. Well done.
Did he get it up and running? Like, I'll be honest, I haven't been watching.
I don't know. I didn't really watch the videos.
You jerk.
No, I did watch, and I commented on everyone.
Okay, a Guido is a hexadecimal number. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, way to go, archive. Well, I should put them on allarchive.org, but I'll get there.
That is good of you there, Derek. Way to keep on top of things. Derek does that kind of stuff. Like he's knowledgeable. That's
He's
something.
interested. He cares. Yeah.
Takes care of these things.
Yeah. Well, somebody has to. Well, since Duke's here, and I know Duke's a huge Star Trek fan, I wanted to talk to you about some Star Trek DVDs.
I am fascinated. I couldn't think of anything more that I'd like to talk about on episode 200.
We've been building up to this point. All 199 episodes been built up to this point. By the way, I should say that the reason why we're not doing anything for episode, nothing special, even though every episode to me is special.
Every episode is special.
It's special. Because we went all out for episode 100, no one cared, so I just didn't. I don't feel like putting all that effort into something again. And it's like it was just treated like every other episode. I really thought that episode 100 was going to be like, wow, that was really, you knocked it out of the park. And it was like, Anyways, when you go to buy a Star Trek DVD in the store, you get something usually like this. The big, double.
Oh,
You've seen these, right?
I have them on my shelf. I just can't reach them. I got
Right.
the same one.
And they got the gray all the way around, this metallic thing. It's kind of like Terminator 2 kind of style. That's how they all come, except for the motion picture, which got this full image and the yellow.
Ooh, I've got that one, but mine is the single disc. I don't know that fancy fat one.
Oh, really? The director's cut?
Oh, man. I'll throw my back out to try to reach it. There. I can't. There we go. Yeah, I've got the director's cut here, single.
Huh. That is just the one disc, or is there two discs in there?
I don't know. It's just the one.
You probably have.
Just one. What's that?
Huh. I got two. Wow, I've never seen that before.
Well, it is the Japanese release, so maybe.
Don't Japanese releases usually come with more bonuses?
Maybe people aren't as interested in the Star Treks. I do have the fat cases for the other ones, though. Although I am missing 3 and 5.
I'm missing a few of them as well. I think 2 and 3.
Wait, I have 2, I have 4, I have 6. Yeah. Missing 3 and 5, but I do get jealous. I do have Generations and First Contact like this as well.
Yeah, but yeah, all the Next Generation movies came out like that as well.
Oh, you have them? Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah. Well, except for the only one I don't have, and I found at the thrift store, is Nemesis.
Ooh,
it doesn't have. It's not the, it doesn't have the metallic casing.
Yeah, that's the one I see in the shops, but I've never picked it up.
This is just the normal. So these were all special editions that came out in 2003, and when these came out, they stopped producing this kind, the single disc kind.
When did Nemesis come out?
In 2002. 2002.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was out for like a year, and then they trashed it. And even though it's not a very good movie, I still wanted to see it to complete finishing watching all the Star Trek movies, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I could have downloaded it, but whatever. It was there at the store for $3. Now, here's the part where I really should have stopped myself, because I didn't have that movie. It made sense to buy that one. What made no sense is for me to continue and carry on buying movies I already have, like Star Trek 2, and Star Trek 3, and Star Trek 4, and Star Trek 5.
All right.
They didn't have 6 or the motion picture.
So those are pre-2003 releases.
Yeah. So which one did I grab here? Yeah, so this is 4.
Mm-hmm.
This one came out in 2003, and then this is what they came out before.
Oh, Rocket Sauce, you are right on time.
Came here just for the Star Trek talk, man. That's the thing. Look at that. That's the A right there. Isn't that giving away the ending right there? That's in Star Trek 4.
Mm-hmm.
That gives away the ending.
Oh well, yeah, true.
I mean, anyone who bought this probably had already seen the movie, but jeez, you'd see
Well, you
that
never know.
ending.
I've got that Planet of the Apes DVD where the cover is the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it does come with like a few extra things,
Little things. I like things.
and then you get some Paramount Pictures price to own collect. You get the little catalog in here that they used to throw in.
Yeah,
DVDs.
that's the one thing I miss in buying like Blu-rays and stuff now.
Yeah,
Sometimes there's absolutely nothing in there.
Most of the time, yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah, but or if there is something, it's some little insert about the DVD, like just how to clean it or something.
Well, even
But yeah,
these ones, these special editions, I might be missing it, but
yeah, I think there was some kind of insert chapter list, something like that.
yeah, this one had some artwork in there, so that's pretty cool.
Okay, let's totally entertain everybody. Can you tell me the list of features on your motion picture?
There's a lot. There's a lot on here. Why do you make me read in the dark? Okay, so you got the widescreen.
I just want to know what I'm missing.
Well, you're probably missing everything on disc 2. Disc 1 has it's the widescreen movie,
right?
Some audio, subtitles, and then on the movie disc itself, you get a group commentary with Robert Wise and the effects director. I remember listening to that. Music composer Jerry Goldsmith, and actor Stephen Collins shows up.
Okay,
and then there's a text commentary by those Star Trek encyclopedia nerds.
Oh, the Michael Okuda guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that's disc 1. And then on disc 2,
that's good. All right. Yeah, because that's exactly what's on
yeah.
this.
Okay.
Okay. So point proven. Yes, I'm missing disc 2.
Yeah, disc 2 has a bunch of deleted scenes from the 1983 TV version, then more deleted scenes from the 1979 TV version.
Ooh.
8 television commercials, the trailers, director's edition trailer, promo spots, new retrospective documentary with cast and crew interviews. But I'm pretty sure those are all on the Blu-rays as well, if you get the Blu-rays.
Yeah, I haven't stepped up for those yet. I'm still trying to find a nice set.
Yeah.
I do scour Amazon though, occasionally looking for like little deals. Occasionally something will pop up. Case in point, yesterday, just before I went to bed, I ordered a copy of Ernest Goes to Jail on Blu-ray.
Ernest Goes to Jail made it to Blu-ray?
Apparently, those Ernest movies are really hard to find over here. I look
hard to find everywhere,
and they're super expensive. Like when you see them pop up.
Yeah.
But then that one copy only available. I imagine in the entire country, and it was like $7. I was like, wow, yes, give me Ernest. I'm excited. But yeah, I would love to get the 4 good Ernest movies: Christmas, Scared Stupid, Camp, and Jail.
I have Christmas on DVD, but I think I don't think it ever came out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, some of those I've seen some compilations. It's like the best of Ernest, but it's all the later stuff, the Army and things like that. And I've heard nothing but terrible things, mostly from Curtis. But yeah, I'm just trying to get those. I do still have a preservation copy of Scared Stupid from when we did that.
Right. Cool. Well, I just wanted to share my Star Trek DVDs with you. That was all. No reason to buy them, but they were there for $3, and it's like they got the full beautiful thing. Even though you can look at
Sometimes
the
you just
pictures
need to
online, right? You can just sit there and look at the photos online. You don't need these, but for some reason, you're just
No,
compelled to buy
you
them.
kind of do need them.
Do I?
Yeah. You go in the past. You used to go to the like the rental shops and stuff, Blockbuster Video type stores, and look
Yeah.
around there. Wasn't that fun? Just going through the shelf and looking at all the different pictures and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why we put the shelves in our houses, so you can do
Yeah.
that. You can just look around. Which I'm getting nervous because a lot of the movie rental places that everyone is surprised are still operating here. In our area, a couple of them have been shutting down. A couple of the really big ones. So I imagine that the rental shops may be disappearing here finally.
What's Sauce doing at the airport?
Desperately trying to get away from the Star Trek talk.
Is he? I hope he's not in Ukraine trying to get out of there. He's in serious trouble. Jeez.
Oh man, where are you going, Sauce?
Mm.
Or where are you coming back from? This guy's a globetrotter. He's all over the place.
Yeah, him and Dean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dean was just I don't know where he was for his anniversary. He was posting pictures of freezing in the snow somewhere.
Yeah. I had to shovel the driveway again today. That was my adventure. I went outside,
Ooh.
shovel the driveway.
Sauce flying to Tampa. There you go.
What? Oh, I see a snowbird. Yeah.
It's winter. Winter's almost over. He should be coming back from Tampa.
Well, you go at some point in the winter to get away from it. Today would have been a good day to get away from the winter. Yeah, first vacation since 2019. Well, I haven't.
I couldn't tell you the last time I had a vacation.
The last time I went on a vacation, like to somewhere tropic was 2010. For Sarah and I's 10th anniversary.
Ooh.
And then we meant to do something for our 20th anniversary, but the entire world was locked down. So we'll get there eventually, maybe.
Yeah.
Or we'll be speaking Russian very soon. It's one or the other. It could swing either way.
Oh my goodness. World news, huh? we sure got a lot of it.
Isn't it great? We just got out of this pandemic, or crawling out of this pandemic. Then we get all these truckers, and then we get these truckers all in line finally. And then the next day, boom, all this goes down. It's stupid. It's stupid Putin.
Hey,
Hey, in better news, I also got a copy of what's this movie?
Oh, well, it's got a Predator helmet on it.
That's right.
So I imagine it's got to be the Predators.
No, it's just plain
Robert
old
Rodriguez
Predator.
one.
Nope,
What is that? It's a cardboard jacket.
Yeah, so I found this. I always find, like, even though I have, I think, 6 copies of Predator, I'd never seen this one before.
When you find a neat cover, you got to get it.
I'm starting to see you're rubbing off on me with your, because I saw this. I'm like, this looks so cool. So I ended up grabbing it, and I think it came out like the Alien versus Predator years, because there is a poster in here, a little poster, Alien versus Predator poster.
Nice.
And I guess you're
put
supposed
that
to send
on
away
your door.
Get some movie cash. Send away to get your tickets.
I like movie cash.
Yeah. Remember when they used to do that?
I do not remember what movie cash is.
You used to buy, like, if you bought a DVD for, Predator, and then you could get a few dollars off to see the new movie in the theater.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember getting, sometimes they'd bid, free movie ticket, discount ticket, free popcorn, something like that.
Yeah.
Now you get nothing. A bunch of nothing. I didn't know we were going to be showing things to the camera, so I didn't prepare anything. I can show these, though, because I just recently got these. I had my John Wick for a while, but I didn't have the sequel, so I got 2 from England and 3 from North America.
Nice.
There you go.
They're working on 4 right now, aren't they?
Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently. And John Wick 3, by the way, is the last movie that I ever saw in a movie theater, and I'm not sure if I'll ever go back.
Yeah, I'm same. Last one I saw was the last Avengers movie, the big one.
The big one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That was it. I haven't been to the theater since.
Yeah, I'm kind of good with that. I don't know if I can go back because I like pausing. I like going to the toilet.
I got it. Yeah, and I got a good sound system and nice big screen.
Hmm.
I mean, it was just like we would go like just for something to do, I guess. And the other thing,
Well,
too,
you didn't have the option back then, you know.
Oh yeah, back then. No, I mean like even like going to see the Avengers movies and that a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But theater, like a theater for us is 20 minutes away, 20-minute drive, and you get there.
Yeah.
I like to show up early. You know, I like to get there like a half hour early, and then the movie is like 3.5 hours long now, so it's like a whole afternoon just to watch a movie. Whereas I
Right.
can watch 3 movies in that time if I just stayed home.
Right.
Toss is triple vaccinated, so he's all ready for Batman next week. Oh yeah, that's right. That's coming out.
Oh,
The Batman.
the Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman.
Cool. Well, I can wait. Like, look at that. What was the movie a couple months ago? Ghostbusters Afterlife. Walking in the library, boom, there it is. DVD. I didn't have to go to the theater to see it. Just watched it for free. I watched Ghostbusters Afterlife. How did you enjoy Ghostbusters Afterlife, Richard?
The plan was. I figured, well, this happened close to 2 weeks ago. It was like right after our recording, like a day or so after. News of what's it for Pepsi and doing movie trivia.
Sauce says Kevin must love watching commercials for Pepsi and doing movie trivia. I do not. I look at my phone until the movie comes on.
So about 2 weeks ago is when you decided to watch Afterlife, and then you murdered Ivan Reitman.
Yeah.
So I figured, all right, I'll also watch this, but we're not going to talk about it for 2 weeks. I'll wait until we get a bit closer so it's fresh in my head. And then I completely forgot.
I was going to send you a message earlier this week, but I thought, he's probably watched it.
I totally forgot.
He seemed pretty eager to watch it, so he's probably seen it.
I am curious because my goal was to not watch anything. I was avoiding trailers. I was avoiding any of the, comments or any like TV clips and stuff. So I just wanted to wait for the movie to be available, and then I watch it. And then every day since it came out, it's like, here's a little thing on YouTube. Here's a little thing on Twitter. People just posting this and that and everything.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like I've been exposed to everything that was supposed to be a ho, look at this. So some of the excitement fizzled. I've heard a lot of people say, they enjoyed it more than they thought they would. I imagine some people were not happy with it. Are you ready to talk about it right now?
Yeah, we can talk about it. Why not?
Okay, then before you start talking about it, let me tell you everything that I know about the film, having unintentionally absorbed the information.
So we're going to get into spoilers like right off the top?
That's what I'm going to say is I imagine most people have already watched it or know about it, or at the very least they know we're about to talk about it, so they have the choice of listening or not.
Okay, well, I will say, if you haven't seen it and you plan on watching it, this movie is pretty much impossible to talk about without talking about the ending. So stop the podcast, watch the movie, then listen to the rest after you've seen the movie. Not that I think that the movie is worth the watch, but it might be for you because a lot of people do like the movie.
Okay. So everything that I know about the movie,
yeah,
I did see the teaser trailer way back when, where it's Ecto-1 in like a barn or something. Somebody's trying to start it up.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd and kids. I know
Yeah.
that. The kids, I don't know all of them, but some of them are Egon's grandkids.
One of them is.
Okay, so we got
Oh,
the lineage of Ghostbusters.
wait a minute. Two of them are. I
Okay,
think.
so the
Yeah.
younger generation descendants of Ghostbusters. People are in that weird zone of they don't know if they believe the stories of what happened. Is that
It's
part of this?
Yeah, it's a little bit like in Ghostbusters 2 at the beginning where everyone sort of forgot what happened 5 years ago.
Right, or they believe it was a hoax or something like that.
Yeah, which kind of makes a little more sense because there is it 30 years? Yeah, no, 40 years. 40 years, or it's like 38 years or whatever since the last one. So it makes a little more sense.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Sauce is right. It's the nerd girl and the stranger kid's boy is.
I don't know what that means. Terror Dogs, Gozer,
Mm-hmm.
little mini Stay Puft Marshmallow things.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the big one is the thing. Maybe I'm guessing this is at the end. The reveal is that ghost.
That ghost. Say you might as well say it now. We're in spoiler. So stop the podcast right now. We're just gonna go with a spoiler.
The ghost of Egon Spangler with a beard to make it easier to do CGI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I know. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Is the story just completely looping like things that happened before? Just bringing back all the classic bits.
No. Well,
The story? Well, you said you don't recommend watching it, so I'm guessing very little of it was interesting for you, or did you at least get some like, hey, that was neat to see again, or
there
it was
was
cool seeing this and that?
There was one moment in the movie where I just felt the warm fuzz of nostalgia just wave over me. There was just like, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. And then it went away as fast as it showed up. It was just like gone. I really wish you would have seen it because this would have been fun to talk to you about. But maybe after my analysis, it would be fun for you to watch it and see if you agree. It's a weird movie because it's not a bad movie. It's just a weird movie that's trying to do like two things at once, and it starts off as one movie and then shifts gears and goes in a completely different direction. Part of it, I think, is because this movie really had two directors. Jason Reitman is the director, but he had Ivan Reitman, his dad, sitting beside him, the director of the original two Ghostbusters films, sitting beside him, giving him input constantly. So it seemed like as if there was a bit of this struggle of, I want to do this homage to my dad while doing a Jason Reitman film at the same time. And it doesn't really mesh together very well. It's not a funny movie by any stretch. Like there's like I will say, like, I watched it with Sarah and she loved it. She really enjoyed it. But for me, who has like basically the first movie, I can just replay it in my head. I don't need to see it again. It's just all there. There was just so many things in the movie that just felt a little off. And I don't know if it's because I have seen the original movie so many times. Like, for instance, they use Elmer Bernstein's original score in this movie and rarely, if ever, deviate from it. So you're seeing a lot of scenes in this movie with the same soundtrack as the original movie. If that makes any
The
sense.
soundtrack that was created for specific scenes and moments,
Exactly.
and a specific tone of a different
exactly.
tone.
Like, like for instance, when the Ghostbusters walk in the first movie, when they walk into the library and the slime is on the library cards that are flipped all
Mhm.
around, and they walk in, and that sound effect of what as the slime is dripping down, and Elmer Bernstein puts in this little like just this little sound effect, as you watching it, the slime to just to give it that little extra oomph. That's what movie scores do.
Right.
And to hear that sound played verbatim in this movie in a scene that has absolutely nothing to do with slime dripping or anything,
Mhm.
it was just really odd for me to sit, like it just felt off. And then there were scenes in the movie that were exact replicas of the first movie, and they used the exact same soundtrack. So for instance, there is a certain song that he plays, or music that Elmer Bernstein plays in the background when Dana and Louis Tully are turned into pterodogs, right?
Okay. Mhm.
You got the electricity, and it's a thing.
Mhm.
There's two characters in this new movie that turn into pterodogs, and it's the exact same score behind it. And it just,
Mhm.
I don't know, it just felt a little off. Now I understand, like, they do this all the time in TV. Like if you want a really blatant example, just watch like the first 10 episodes of Star Trek. I think those are the only episodes that they actually did the score for, and then like every other episode after that, they just keep aping the same score from
Right.
the original. But that, I don't know, it feels natural in television because
Well, it's expensive. You got to do that every week. You don't have as big as a budget. You
yeah,
got to you got to start doing the He-Man thing and just have them
right,
throw boulders every week.
right, and it feels natural in television, probably just because I'm accustomed to it. I'm just accustomed to, like, you see the Enterprise and it's the dun, 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 dun. Like, they didn't have a band playing that every single episode, right? They just, like, they played it once and then they would play that song over and over again. So it feels natural, but it just feels really weird in a movie like this. And I like, even like something like Star Wars, when you see the Empire, right, in the Empire Strikes Back, and that whole song plays, right? Dun, 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 and it's like, Darth Vader's walking through the ship and everything. That song just plays and plays, and that's the only time that they do that. And then every other time that you see the Empire, they give you a little taste of that, and then they move on to its own. It moves on to its own score.
Right.
John Williams just isn't there playing his greatest hits, right? It moves on to its, and then it just, I don't know, it was really weird to see it in this movie. I'm complaining about the Venom movies. I don't know what that means.
Well, Kevin sounds like me complaining about
Oh,
them.
oh.
So you're nitpicking these the way Sauce hates on those Venom
Well, to
movies.
me, I don't know. To me, it wasn't a nitpick because it really, I don't know. It just made me feel uncomfortable. It was one of those things that I just couldn't, like, every time I'd hear it, it was just like, oh, that's really weird.
It
Like,
sounds to me like a good example is the Seinfeld intro. When you watch Seinfeld, when Jerry would do his monologue in the comedy club set at the beginning of every episode, the music would change every single episode
yeah,
because they had to match the music to his timing for the jokes, which
right,
changed every single time. So even though it sounds kind of similar, like they're using the same notes and things that the one everybody knows, but they would alter it to match the setting because it would not work well if it was the same music cues, but then suddenly the timing was all off. It was not punctuating the jokes and pausing and waiting. So sounds kind of like this, where if they had taken a lot of the original music or maybe like the same instruments and tried to hit the same notes and everything, but you arrange it for this new scene and the new tone in an appropriate way instead of just copy paste, just throw it
yeah.
over.
Like, I guess another example would be the video game. The video game does the exact same thing. It uses all that Elmer Bernstein score throughout the video game, but
Hmm.
and even and that's one of the complaints I have about the video game, is that the music doesn't always exactly fit what's going
Mm.
on. It doesn't always fit
Yeah, well,
exactly. And the
in,
difference
in a video game, I think it's a little easier to blur the lines because you're not
Yes,
getting those precise moments of,
exactly.
now we're in a close up, now we're looking at this.
Well, because the user is in control of what's happening for the
Right.
most part, right? So of course the music isn't going to fit, which is it's a little bit of a complaint. Like that music was designed for a movie. It's not really designed for a video game, and that's why it doesn't fit. But it's kind of forgivable because it's two different mediums, so you kind of get it, right?
Mhm.
Whereas in this, they could have made it like its own thing. Like Ghostbusters 2 has its own soundtrack. It has its there's did Ghostbusters 2 do this with the music? As I was just about to say, no, it's a completely different guy who did the music for Ghostbusters 2, and that's a really good, that's an underrated soundtrack as far as I'm concerned as well. But and they don't touch any of Elmer Bernstein's score in the second film, because it just wouldn't fit, right? And I don't know, to do it in this movie, it felt a little off. Now, again, like the movie starts off and it's like a family drama. It's like a Jason Reitman film where this Egon's daughter is moving out to the country because she lost her job, she has no money, and her father dies. Egon dies. Spoiler alert. And he leaves her this house. So they're going out to the country to move in this house and possibly live out there in this house. And that's where the kids discover that Egon was actually covering up uh, the return of Gozer. Gozer was trying to find another way into our world. And Ivo Shandor, the guy who built the building in New York City in the first film, is, he created all the metal that he used to make the building in New York City, the skyscraper. It was a special type of material that he found in this mountain, and he dug out this mountain. And when I don't know, I'm unclear on how this hole in the ground all of a sudden became the gateway for Gozer to come in, but I don't know. I guess they kind of explain it some way or something, but and then it shifts gears because they have to get the original Ghostbusters into the movie. So it's that for like, I don't know, it was like an hour and 45 minutes. And then the last 15 minutes, it switches over. Yeah, it's a long movie too. They can't make short movies anymore. And then the last, 15 minutes, the original Ghostbusters come in, and it's kind of weird because they want the original Ghostbusters in, but you built up these characters as the one that are supposed to save the day. But how are the Ghostbusters going to come in and save the day when these characters need to save the? It's a mess. Like it just doesn't gel. Like
You're trying to make everybody happy, and the result
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
somewhere.
Like there are characters in this movie that have absolutely no purpose, that go absolutely nowhere. So like there are two kids. Like there's the Stranger Things kid. The kid from Stranger Things, he plays the brother of the nerdy girl. She's like super smart, right? She's like real spin-off of Egon. She, it's they kind of go too far with it, but whatever. It is what it is. She's like a super smart kid. I'm not sure why her brother's there. Her brother, I even forgot that he was the brother. Like he just kind of serves no purpose whatsoever. It was almost like, well, we can get one of the kids from Stranger Things in this movie, so let's do that. And I mean, he fixes up Ecto 1 for some reason. You never figure out why, and he starts driving that around. And I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. And then there was a kid called Podcast. His name is Podcast because he has a podcast. He's the friend. He came across to me as the kid, a lot like the kid from the movie Up, where he just,
Russell.
Yeah.
Russell's
like he's just like
character.
Russell is a great character. Podcast, not so much. So, anyways, the Stranger Things kid has a girlfriend in the movie. I have no idea why. They start building up to where like they have this relationship and all that, and then it just goes nowhere. I was like, what was the point of that? I don't know. There's the mother in the film, it's like all the characters in the movie were just kind of MacGuffins. Like they come in, they have like certain purposes, and then if they needed them to switch gears into something else, they would just give, like even Egon is a total MacGuffin in this movie. Like it makes no sense. Anything that he ever did in this movie was just a total betrayal of the original character, because the kid, so he has this daughter apparently who's at least 40. So that means in the original movie, Egon would have had to have like a toddler child in the first movie that he never mentions at all in the first or second movie. Never brings up once that he's got a kid. Then she has 2 kids, and now they're the grand. And so for some reason, at some point after Ghostbusters 2, Egon figures out that this Ivo Shandor has this plan with this mine where he dug out all the ore to build the statue, and he figures out that Ivo Shandor has a backup plan to bring Gozer through this hollowed out mountain to bring Gozer back into our world. So Egon figured this out. For some reason, and they never explain it, Ray, Winston, and Peter don't believe Egon. The guy who has been always the guy who's come up with the bones of the plan, and then Peter and Ray would kind of build on it. They don't believe him for some reason. Out of all the fantastical things that they've done together, they don't buy into his thing. So Egon gets pissed off and takes all the Ghostbusters equipment, goes out to the desert to stop Ivo Shandor by himself, but doesn't quite make it there, and then or to stop Gozer from. So for some reason, some ghost comes out of the mountain and kills Egon, but Egon's got like this backup machine in the mountain that shoots every time the ghosts try to rise up from from this hole that's in the ground. The proton streams like fire into the hole to keep them down, and it's like an automatic machine that keeps running. So why at some point does Egon, like after he builds this thing, and he's got the hole in the ground with the ghosts coming up, why at some point he doesn't like call up Ray and say, Ray, I know you don't believe me, but there's like a hole. If you just come out here, there's a hole in the ground with the ghosts coming up, and I'm keeping them down. I'm keeping the ghosts down there. So if you just come on over and look, you can see for yourself what's going on. It makes no sense why Ray would not go and check that out.
Yeah. The Egon off on his own thing feels similar to the Extreme Ghostbusters when Egon was, kind of mentoring the younger generation. So they don't reference the video game at all? Any of the events of the game?
No.
No, that's not.
So Sasha's saying, I think he pissed them off after the business went under. The business went under before. It went under in between Ghostbusters 1 and 2. I don't understand why.
The business going under is the whole story. It's like it's them trying to run their business.
It just makes zero sense to me. Why would Egon be pissed? Egon never got angry. I mean, Peter was practically slapping him around in those 2 movies. He never got angry. In the second movie, he's like hammering on his head on the thing. Egon just took it,
So no memorable lines, no funny moments, no little ha-ha-has.
There is a Ghostbusters 2 reference in the movie. Saw says there isn't any, but there is. Ray's a cult. Ray's still working at the bookstore.
All right.
Yeah.
So no Rick Moranis?
No. Rick Moranis? No.
No Janosch?
Nope. No, none of the only thing from Ghostbusters 2 that is mentioned is Ray's Occult books. That's it. No River of Slime, no Vigo, no Walking Statue of Liberty. Zero.
Gotcha.
So anyways.
You think people would remember that?
So I'm not done with Egon. He's like, his character, so he apparently goes crazy. He's off in the mountains. He writes, so you remember when in the first movie when Winston and Ray are talking about the end of times, end of world, right? And Ray says that quote from the Bible, right? To Winston, and the dead rise from the grave, all that stuff, right? For some reason, Egon builds or buys this farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere. It's a thing, and he crazily spray paints on a bunch of junk before you, like on the driveway going up the thing. That whole thing that Ray says from the Bible. And it makes no sense. Why would Egon, who doesn't seem like a religious guy, maybe he is. I don't know. But why would he
is
pull
hard
that?
science.
Why would he pull that quote that Ray said? See, and it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, I remember that quote from the first movie when Ray said that, and like that's just supposed, like it's just pandering to you, you know, like it doesn't make any sense. Like I just watched this, the Ricky Ricardo or the Ricardo and Lucille Ball movie, and you know, it's great movie about parts of the movie are great about how they would put that TV show together and how Lucy would really never want to insult the audience, right? And never want to do something like that was totally out of character. The writers would come up with ideas and she would like, no, it makes no sense for this character to come in here and not be able to, like, even something as simple as Ricky comes into the room and Lucy doesn't hear him. And she's like, we've done like 30 episodes already. Lucy always hears him when he comes into the room. You're going to have to do something in order to make it believable that he could come into because they have a small apartment in the show, that he could come into the apartment and she wouldn't hear him, you know, and that would be like, oh, you know, like, don't worry about it. She would insist on stuff like that, you know, because you can't insult the audience because the audience knows, right? They love these characters. They watch these characters. So it's just kind of like such a sloppy thing to have Egon put that there. Now it's something that maybe most people wouldn't even care about. Most people wouldn't even know. Maybe I'm a super nerd and super, you know, like, but I don't know. I just find that stuff like it's just really pandering. Like you're not like there's the symmetrical book stacking in Egon's cottage or whatever in that farmhouse. And it's like, why is it there? I don't know. It's just in the background. They just have the stacked books there just so you can say, oh yeah, I remember that from the first movie, you know. But anyways, so Egon, everyone hates Egon and all that. He's a terrible father because she, you know, the daughter because he basically abandoned her for some reason. They never really explain it. Part of it has to do with this obsession, I guess, he has with Gozer and stopping Gozer from coming back to Earth again. But they never explain like if he was a good father during the whole 80s and Ghostbusters years or anything like that, and then he left or whatever. I don't know. They're just estranged for some reason. But you got to have this sweet ending, right? You can't treat Harold Ramis like he's got to be redeemed by the end of the movie. So he comes back as a ghost, and everything's forgiven for some reason. It's all just forgiven. Everyone's forgotten everything. They're all like, "Oh, it's good. It's good you're back." Box will probably like what happens to Winston. I actually liked what happened to Winston.
Don't spoil Winston stuff for me. From what you've said, the last 15 minutes is the only part of the movie I'm interested in. So don't spoil that for me.
Yeah. Well, I would say like after it does that Marvel movie thing, right? Where there's credits, you'll want to stay for the after credits, and then for the again, like there's a little nugget right at the end of the movie that you're going to want to get to.
Okay. I don't know. The film itself, I was interested in it years ago when I first started hearing about it and everything. But yeah, I've kind of, like everything, the hype fizzles and you just kind of like, it's probably just a mediocre thing. So that, whatever the film is, fine. I'll watch it at some point. What really kind of has been digging in my head, though, is ever since I found out about the Egon thing, it's just one of those, like, you're using somebody after they die, you're CGI, putting them back into a movie. That part is really what feels kind of funny to me. When I heard about that, I was like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the relationship they all had. I don't know if that's something that Harold Ramis would be like, yeah, totally, go ahead and do that with me. Because the idea of a Ghostbuster has been around since the 90s or whatever. That was one of the potential ideas of getting Bill Murray to do a third one. Is like, you know,
Right.
that he would come as a ghost, but he was of course alive and, you know, a willing participant in theory if they were to do that. This is just taking somebody's likeness and then forcibly, you know, putting them in a movie. It's like when they used to do those commercials in the 90s or 2000s. They put like Frank Sinatra or, you know, some dead celebrity into like Pepsi commercials or something.
Yeah, it was the Forrest Gump thing, right? That did it first, where
Yeah,
they would insert
yeah,
Forrest Gump
yeah,
into
that kind
like,
of thing.
yeah, into like a thing with Elvis or something like that. Then
Right, right.
they ran with it with the commercials. I will say, like, you know, they've been doing this like, which one? There was one of the Star Wars movies where they had Carrie Fisher in it, right? But it was like a CG young
It was
Carrie
a
Fisher,
CG Carrie Fisher, yeah.
and it looked really bad. I will say the effect of putting Harold Ramis in the movie looked really good, and plus it also helped from the fact that he was Ghost, right? So he constantly has like this
Well,
glow on him, so it doesn't look as like
well, you're
you're
not
not
supposed to buy him as a living individual
right.
like the Grand Moff Tarkin and Princess Leia.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So having him a little transparent, having this glow around him and all that, kind of sold the effect a little better. Plus, as my buddy Frank pointed out to me in a text the other day, he's like, when he watched it, he was like, I was so afraid that they were going to make him talk, and it was going to be some other actor saying lines of dialogue, or they would take lines of dialogue from a deleted scene or something like that and insert it in there. And I'm like, you know, I can't argue with that. At least they had the decency. He never says a word throughout the
Okay.
whole thing.
All
So
right.
at least they had the decency to do that, because that would have been really bad. Rocket Sauce asks if they say what Peter is doing. Peter returned to academia was the only thing we got. Young Mark Hamill looked pretty good in the Boba Fett show. Haven't seen it. Spoiler alert. Oh my God. That's Sauce. That's on Sauce. I did not know where that statement was going. So I hope not everyone's not arguing. I'm not upset about that. Anyways, yeah, all in all, it's of course it's better than the 2016 movie. But that's such a low bar to go over. I mean, the worst Marvel movie is better than that movie. You know that thing's crap. I think, you know, there's no comedy in it really until the Ghostbusters show up, and then they do their thing. Which I'm sorry, but comedy is like a huge part of those movies. But you know, I understand they did that in the 2016 movie, but it was just bad comedy. It was comedy that didn't fit the action sci-fi world. Sauce says it's only a tease. I could probably get you to watch the show. I really have no desire to watch any Star Wars. I'm done with the whole Star Wars thing. I don't care what character they bring back. They could bring back, I don't know, Hammerhead. Remember that guy?
Yeah, I do. I used to have the action figure. Right
Yeah,
here.
they could bring that that guy. I still wouldn't care.
I'm sure he's in there somewhere. In the backgrounds.
Anyways, I don't know. It wasn't like a complete, you know, flub or whatever. I'm sure if you're not really into Ghostbusters, you might get some more enjoyment out of it or something. But for me, I just wasn't. I didn't even think it was a good movie in terms of movie. You know what I mean? Like even if it was just like a passable movie that you could watch and say, well, you know, it's not perfect, but it's a movie. There's just no good characters in it. Nothing for me there. Oh, that's okay. And before I forget, we got to talk about the mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, because let me tell you, if there was ever a scene, and this will be the last thing I say about it, we'll move on after this, but if there was ever a scene in a movie that was completely wedged in and out of nowhere, it is that mini Stay Puft. They had to have seen that Mandalorian show and saw Baby Yoda and said, we got to go reshoot a couple of scenes and stick in some mini marshmallow men, because at no point in the movie are mini marshmallow men ever mentioned prior to the scene or after to the scene. It is just so bizarre how it's in there. And somebody conjures up 100-foot entity of your mascot, and it destroys a bunch of Manhattan, and you still stick to that. You still stick to that mascot. You're still holding on to that mascot to sell your marshmallows. It made no sense. But basically, Paul Rudd, he walks into a Walmart for some reason to buy some ice cream, and that's where he runs into the terror dog, and they pretty much ape the terror dog scene with Louis Tully in the apartment where it chases him around. But you could so tell, like, I was just like, okay, we got to do this marshmallow scene. How are we gonna raise the money to do this thing? Oh, we'll tie it in with Walmart. We'll have Paul Rudd going to Walmart to buy ice cream for some reason. Why this little town that doesn't seem to have anything has a Walmart? I don't know. But anyways, he goes in there, and then the little marshmallow men do their thing, exactly what you see in the little snippets that they put on the Twitter and all that stuff. And then that's it. That's the only mention of them. Then they're gone. You never see them again. All of the Ghostbusters re-release merch was all snagged by scalpers. I could never get Ecto Cooler cereal or real Ghostbusters toys. Well, there you go. I did see a few of them when I went to Walmart. I remember going down the aisle, and it was He-Man, Ghostbusters, and Transformers. Kids don't have their own things anymore. But I wasn't interested. I didn't buy any of it. All right, that's the universal sign that Richard is tired of talking about Ghostbusters.
Oh, I'm not tired of talking about Ghostbusters. I talk about Ghostbusters all day long. Ghostbusters Afterlife, I can't comment on.
No, I'm done. That was it. That was the last thing I had to say. I had to get that thing off my chest.
Speaking of wedged in scenes, though, it reminds me of a scene from Wayne's World 2, which I finally watched. Took me
You had never seen it before?
29 years. I finally watched it.
I just bought Wayne's World 1. It came out on a Steelbook Blu-ray, but I forgot to bring it down to show you. Yeah, it was $8.99 on Amazon. And I'm like, damn it, I don't have that movie. Now I got it.
Yeah, Wayne's World, the original, is one of my favorite comedies of all time. I think it's fantastic.
30 years old.
I think it's perfect. It's executed so well. And then I never got around to seeing part 2. I was in the shop the other day, and I found a copy. I was like, hey, I am finally going to watch this. And I knew going into it, a lot of people said it wasn't as good as the original. So I knew, like, all right, I shouldn't set my sights too high. And I'm kind of over any kind of Wayne's World hype that there might be. So I just watch it. But even so, it was still a bit of a disappointment. Like, I set my sights pretty low, but that movie was cheap and poorly directed.
Yeah,
a couple of nice moments. I can't hate on it too much. It's just a Wayne's World movie, but it was really disappointing. It felt so sloppy and cheap and aimless. Just rehash all the same gags, which I can't even be too upset about that, because the original Wayne's World does a lot of the same things. It's just done better, where there's a lot of little things that go nowhere, little sides that have no purpose, but it's funny and it's well directed. And even the Austin Powers movies, it's the same, basically the same shtick over and over, but they find new ways to make it entertaining. Wayne's World 2 was just, okay, we did this in the first one, we got to do this here. We did the product placement there, let's do a product placement scene here.
Yeah.
We did the T-1000 there. We'll have a Tyrannosaurus from Jurassic Park here. And that's the scene I was talking about. It's like, it feels like they were making the movie, wow, Jurassic Park's big. Let's put a scene like that.
Oh, you're angering Sauce now. He is a huge Wayne's World 2 fan.
Oh,
the movie is great.
Cassandra, they had nothing for her to do. It was just have her be in scenes with Christopher Walken. That's it.
Right. Fuck, I
basically
forgot he was in that movie.
Yeah, Wayne just needs to put on a concert because he feels bored or he needs to do something. Like everything felt flat. The director of the first film, I forget her name, Penelope Spheres or something.
Yeah,
You know, she had a background with
television.
music,
Oh, was
like
it?
she yeah, she had done some documentaries with musicians and stuff, so she kind of understood that world, and she had a certain energy to that film. It looked great. The director to the second film, that was like his first feature, and everything is so flat. It's just like a lot of flat two shots, and there's no really style or creativity to it. It was off. Garth has his whole side plot of trying to get a girlfriend, and I don't know.
And she directed the punk documentary "Decline of the Western Civilization," which I have seen. And the sequel, the metal one too. So yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't remember two that much. I remember, of course, Aerosmith, Wayne Stock. I think I've
Yeah,
only seen it once, and then there was a whole kung fu scene, which
yeah. The kung
remember that
fu
was too
scene
good.
wasn't bad,
Yeah,
and you know the first one, they did the Bugs Bunny thing where he would speak, and then you'd get all the text of what he was saying, like
yeah,
you know, he'd say one word and then paragraphs would come up, and they kind of tweaked that to be a dubbing thing
hmm
where they were speaking in dubs, and like that was like a nice little twist. So that scene was fine, but so much of the other of the rest of the movie is just here's the same joke again,
yeah.
but cheaper and sloppier.
That was what sequels were back then. You just
Yeah,
come out with the same stuff again, do it and do it safe.
yeah. I don't know.
I
I
think that
wasn't expecting much. I didn't get much,
yeah,
but
I think that
it's a 90-minute movie. I'm not that upset about it.
all right. Well, and it's 32 years old. No,
29.
29 years old now. So Sauce is really angry. He
No,
loves
the jokes are not sloppy. The jokes are rehashed. The direction is sloppy. The movie just looks cheap, and there's no style. There's not good pacing. There's not a good setup. You know, that first film, perfect.
I what I remember is it didn't feel like uh, Myers really wanted to do it. Like it just I don't know. It felt like
It came out 1 year later, so
yeah,
it was like, oh, this movie was a hit. Hurry up, make another one.
yeah. Sauce says there's lots of parody and well done. Says there's
Not well
a
done.
weird naked Indian and Jim
Uh,
Morrison. He's
uh,
he's really into Wayne's World too. Who knew?
I said I'm not hating on it. I will watch it again because there are certain parts I want to see again, but did not capture the magic of the first film.
yeah, that first movie it's a flawless movie for sure. I mean, I can't find any fault with it other than maybe Tia Carrere's music career. Like, I mean, you got to buy into that she's this amazing musician that needs to be signed to a contract when she's not really like, I mean, average singer.
If you look at all the big artists of today, how many of them are you going to say are fantastic?
No, no, not great singers, but songwriters. They're great songwriters, right? Like Kurt Cobain is not a great singer. Ozzy Osbourne is not a great singer. But they got the songs. They write the songs, or at least get the
No.
people.
I'm not talking about people who are like on the upper levels there. I'm talking about people who have signed contracts and they get up on stage and you're like, this person has no talent.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people like that. Cassandra could fit in there somewhere.
No, but the whole thing was that Cassandra was so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
That she needed to be signed to this contract because her
Uh-huh.
career was just going to take off because she was so good that she
Mm-hmm.
needed this.
But what
And
do they tell people when they sign them? Like, you're mediocre, you might be able to sell a few records. Hey, tell them, oh, you're great, you're going
well,
places.
I don't think if she was that talented of a singer, Like the point is that what they produced in the movie, that song, "You Want to Break My Heart," and her singing wasn't that great. Where you'd
I
say, "Oh
have
my god, that's such an
I
amazing
have the
talent."
soundtrack to Wayne's World, and I listen to it
I
often.
do too, but I listened to Black Sabbath on that and Jimi Hendrix. I skip those Tia Carrere songs. I'm saying that she's not that much of a like that's something that you have to take a leap of faith into believing that what you're seeing and hearing is so good that they would go to these lengths to get her to want to make her into this huge star when
Okay.
the end result isn't that. It's not like Sing Street. Like the music is so good in that you get it. Oh, okay. They're taking stuff from, the pop eras and that, but that music is so good that you want to hear that. So that does not come across in Wayne's World. That's where
perfect.
I would have to shave a half a point off.
It's a perfect movie.
That. Okay. Well, you must really like that Tia Carrere song.
Why you want to break my heart, Kevin? Why you want
I'm
to break
sorry,
my
but
heart?
that's just... Sauce is still going on about
Del
Kurt
Paxton.
Cobain has an amazing voice. Oh, I don't think so. He was a good songwriter for that genre, but he does not have he can't go up there and sing like Pavarotti or something like that. He doesn't have a great voice. It's okay for what he's doing. It fits for what he's doing. It's fine, but he's technically not a great singer. Neither is Ozzy Osbourne. I love Ozzy, but Ozzy is a very there's a vocal range there, and he can't come out of it. It's not a knock. It's just the reality of the situation. Okay. Anyways,
Are we gonna keep doing Wayne's World 2?
no, let's move on from Wayne's World 2. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Wii? Do you want to talk about the Mission Impossible movies? What do you want to talk about?
Around Christmas time, during winter vacation, my kids wanted to play the Wii again and do the Wii Sports and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's still hooked up. And I'm realizing, hey, that Wii's pretty cool. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Wii games are pretty cheap now.
Yeah.
I went into the store and I was looking around, and I passed by the Wii and I was like, let me look through here. My kids are playing this thing. I was like, hey, $5, $3. What's going on? These are like bigger titles that are cheap now. So I was like, hey, bought some more Wii games. My kids are enjoying them, and I realized that system's kind of fun. I don't really have a desire to play it, but I get why people were crazy about it. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I told you so. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
My niece and nephew.
I do have it. I did put some emulators on there a few years ago. So when the kids aren't playing, I'll go in there and I'll play Castlevania or something for 5 minutes. Yeah. Hey, that's perfect. It doesn't take up a lot of space on the shelf. It looks nice, and they can play their games. I can play my games. Best of both worlds.
There you go. Good times. I like the Wii.
But you like the Wii U because
I like modding it. I like modding it and unlocking it to its full potential. And I did play that Devil's Third game. That's a game that's it was like the guy who did like those rebooted Ninja Gaiden games, like 1, 2, and like Ninja Gaiden Black.
Yeah. The Tecmo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So after those Ninja Gaiden games, he signed on to do a Wii U exclusive game.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while for him to develop it, and it finally, when he was able to release it, Nintendo pretty much just dropped the Wii U. So the game came out like very late in its cycle, and it only got like a release of so many thousand copies or whatever, and it's already a game that's like shot up to, I don't know how much it costs to buy that game. It's not cheap anyways, but I just downloaded it and put it on my modded Wii U. It's also infamous for not being a great game because it has a lot of technical issues with it, but that's sort of part of the charm. So I did play through it, and it's like the perfect mixture of like awesome and crap. It's like an awesome, it's one of those games where it's like it tries to be a hack and slash and a shooter, and it does neither really well. But it's sort of part of the charm. Just the whole crappiness of the game is just part of its charm. I'm so glad I didn't spend any money on it. I'd be pissed if I spent, the $60 they were asking for it when it first came out. The game was supposed to come out on the PS3 and 360, but it got canceled. I thought it was just a Wii U exclusive. From what I read on the wiki, it was Nintendo who helped with the making of the game. So I think it was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive, and then it was supposed to come out on the PC, but it was only a multiplayer thing that came out in Japan on the PC.
So when you mod this Wii U, it's basically just to put on Wii U games.
Yeah, I mean, you can put on other emulators and that, but I mean, there's
that was my one thought when you posted that you were modding. I was like, "Are you just throwing like
the same
Nintendo games and like doing it just to do it?" I thought maybe you're doing it just for the fun of modding it, just so you can say like, "Well, I did that."
That was part of it. That was part of it, and to play the Wii U game. There was a couple of Wii U games so they're closing down the shop, right? The online store as well. So I could have bought it for $30 on the store and downloaded it that way. But the Wii U is like notorious for like it only has 32 gigs, so that would have taken up like the entire 32 gig slot. So I modded it so I can put the external hard drive to it and then just dump the games right onto the external hard drive instead of using that stupid little thing. So it kind of unlocks the full potential of the Wii U, and it's also kind of neat to have the little gamepad in my bed and play those little games on the pad, because I actually put it in the bedroom and had it on the TV in the bedroom and play a little bit of that before I go to bed at night. So, so I put that on there. There's a Fast Racing Neo that's a Wii U exclusive. That's kind of like what's that? F-Zero type of a style of racing game, or Wipeout on the PlayStation. Oh, thanks, Rocket Sauce. Thanks for arguing with us for an hour and a half.
Have a good flight, Ryan. Enjoy your trip.
And what was the other? I can't remember the other game I downloaded. I did download that Kirby game that came out for it, but it uses all the touch screen controls on the pad, so I didn't play that too much. That's pretty much it. You can do all the Game Boy Advance games on there that came out. Like pretty much anything that came out for the store, you can play on there. There's like a really good version of Super Mario Brothers 3, because it's the Super Mario Brothers 3 that came out on the Game Boy Advance. So it has like some updated graphics and stuff like that. But the Game Boy Advance, remember, it had that e-reader thing?
Yeah.
So those were like kind of precursors to the Amiibos, where you'd buy these e-reader cards. You'd buy cards for them, and you'd swipe them in the e-reader, and it would unlock. There would be like extra levels that they made for Super Mario Brothers 3 that were made by Nintendo. But you'd have to get the Game Boy Advance, then you get the game, then you get the e-reader, then you get all these little cards. And you'd have to buy, I think there were card packs, and you'd get random cards.
It was like when you buy those trading cards.
Right. So
what's in there.
In order to collect all those levels, you'd had to get all the cards for it and scan them in there so you can play all those levels. Well, they just put them all in that Wii U game right in there. Like all those extra levels and all that, they're just right in there. So I've been kind of plucking away at that as well. Because I've never played them before. I never played any of those levels before. So what the heck? So that's it. That's my Wii U story. Giving that old console some life.
Yep.
I hadn't turned it on since 2017 because it logs everything, right? So the last game I played on it was Breath of the Wild in 2017.
The Wii U was the one that used those amiibo things, right? You had to like put them on that touchpad to scan them or something like that.
I think the Switch uses them as well. I'm pretty sure the Switch, because they still make them, right? They still make amiibos. So
really?
they must be useful on the Switch. And then the 3DS as well had like you had to buy like some extra adapter to scan them into the 3DS. Yeah. Uh-oh. Duke's upset that we're talking
Oh,
about Nintendo. He wants us to move on.
Talking positively about Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about ripping them off, which is the only way to enjoy
There
Nintendo.
you go.
It's to rip them off.
I could have bought the game, or I could have jailbreak the thing. And
I mean, yeah, it's still like but it's like, oh, they're closing the shop, so it's kind of like abandonware adjacent. It's in the area of abandonware, so it's like, what the heck?
close enough for you, not enough
Yep.
for the lawyers.
Yeah. Hey, I I can do a whole episode of how I think that pirating is a-okay as long as the stuff it made its money in the past. It's done. It's over. But that's a whole other episode.
Sure.
All right, let's talk about the Mission Impossible movies. So convince me to watch these. Because I saw the first one and I hated the Scooby-Doo mask thing.
Right.
And I'm like, I never want to see another Mission Impossible movie again. And then one of my friends convinced me that I had to go to the theater to watch Mission Impossible 2 because it was so good.
Ooh.
And he actually came with me. He already seen it and he wanted to see it again. It was so good. Let's watch Mission Impossible 2. And I'm sitting there and I wanted to leave the theater. I thought that movie was so stupid. That point where he walks through the archway and there's this glowing light around him and doves go flying everywhere like Tom Cruise is the second coming of Jesus.
Right. Yeah, I remember
I
a
was
scene
like,
like that.
I want to get out of this. This movie is so stupid. I never want to. So that was it. That was the last. And now everyone tells me, no, you got to watch 3 and 4 and 5. They're so good. I have no interest. So you've watched them all from beginning to end.
Okay, I have not watched them all. I believe there are 6, and I watched them because they all just were dumped onto Netflix. Turned on one day, and I was like, "Oh, look at all those Mission Impossibles!" But the most recent one, I guess, is still too new, so they didn't put that one on there. But I watched, I went in order. I watched them all, the 5 of them, and I understand all of your complaints of everything you just said. The mask thing, you got to take it or leave it. It's just how it is. I will say that the mask issue does get better as it goes on. It's used. I thought the first one was not terrible. Like when the first time he does it's like right in the beginning, he rips the thing off. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it cuts to like the opening title sequence, and the music's playing, and it's kind of cut like a television intro. They're doing less things. So I was like, oh, okay, they're tongue in cheek about this. But later on in that film, they do a couple more masks, and it's pretty obvious. And I'd say the thing about the first film that bugs me the most is just that it was so predictable. Like in the first 5 minutes, you're like, okay, that guy's going to betray everybody. And yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And so I got to sit through all these scenes of people going, oh, what's going on? How do they know? And like, well, no, it's obvious. So that's one thing about the movies that I say is to a detriment, is they're pretty predictable, especially in the second movie, because the masks are out of control in that second movie. It's like every scene is, that's a guy in a mask. And then that's a guy in a mask.
Yeah.
And they do it over and over. There's one point where Tom Cruise is fighting a guy, and then, the fight ends, but you don't see who wins. And then it's the henchman dragging in Tom Cruise to the boss. And you're like, he took the time to change their clothes, like completely change the clothes. And he had a Tom Cruise mask ready to put on this guy. And then, you're waiting for the scene to like, just pull the mask up. And then, they pull it off.
That's what I'm saying. I can't buy the masks.
The first one is kind of clunky, but I really like the line, that famous scene of him on the wires doing down the computer. I thought that was fun. Well executed. The second one is a bit of a turd. It's pretty dumb, but I did really enjoy the last 20 minutes or so when it goes full John Woo, just crazy action. I was like, this is really silly and fun. The one thing that gets me about part 2, and I think of this all the time, even though I'd never seen it before, I knew the story behind it, where the villain in that movie, an actor, Dougray Scott, Dougray, I don't know how to say his name. But that was the guy that was originally cast to play Wolverine in the first X-Men movie.
Hmm.
And as far as I know, this guy's career hasn't really taken off, you know.
I never
But
heard of him.
he was handpicked by Tom Cruise to be in that movie, so he had to be in that movie. But because the shoot went long, he wasn't able to do X-Men. And then they had to go with their backup choice of Hugh Jackman, who of course has since gone on to be beloved for his Wolverine and has become a big Hollywood A-lister. And I bet that's constantly in the back of that other actor's head. It was like, man, if I had just been able to do that movie, maybe I would have had a chance to follow up on that in that path.
Like,
of course, a lot of that is Hugh Jackman's talent and charisma and all that has propelled
that's like
him.
That's like Wally Pipp.
It was Wally Pipp.
Come on, everybody knows Wally Pipp.
I don't know Wally Pipp.
Wally Pipp in the 1920s was the first baseman for the New York Yankees.
Oh, of course.
And he was like, their guy. He was their first baseman, their guy. And one day he was like, you know what, guys? I got a bit of a headache. I think I'm going to have to sit out this game. So they're like, okay, sat out this game. They put a rookie to play first base for him. The guy was Lou Gehrig, who went on to play 4,307 games consecutively for the New York Yankees. No one ever heard of Wally Pipp again.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, yeah, I imagine that's Mr. Scott there. I don't know. I'm sure he's done other acting work, but probably not hitting the big time. So yeah, the first two are a bit clunky. But then the Mission Impossible movie is different director every time. I can't say for the last one because I haven't seen that one. But Brian De Palma, John Woo, J.J. Abrams, Brad Bird, and then I don't remember the guy who did the fifth one. So every movie has like kind of a different tone. Like they were fishing around trying to figure out what's the best balance, And I think 3 did it best of the ones I've seen so far. 3 I thought was really good. It downplays the silliness and the masks and everything. I want to say maybe in 4, maybe they didn't use any masks at all, or maybe it was just one.
Who directed the third one? Do you remember?
JJ.
Oh.
J.J. Abrams, then Brad Bird, then some other dude. But yeah, the 3, 4, and 5 are much better than 1 and 2. I really think 3 had a great tone, and there was a little bit more to his character. There was a little bit more personal stakes in that one, because he's just action adventure guy, spy man for a lot of the movies. So 4 and 5 are fun. They got really good individual moments. There are some great chase scenes and action scenes and stuff. And these movies are kind of sold now on the premise that Tom Cruise does one of these big stunts, like he's hanging off the airplane and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
those are fun. But yeah, 3 I would actually buy a copy of because I want to see that one again. And part 3 has RoboCop sounds in it. There's one part at the beginning where these gun turrets are moving, and they make RoboCop sounds. The little servos when he's like, it's those sounds. But yeah, fun movies. They're fine.
All right.
I don't think any of them go so far as to being great. They have their issues, but they also have some really fun moments. Part 4, 5. If you hate the Scooby-Doo stuff, the last one, the part 5, the ending to that movie is totally Scooby-Doo. The way they get the main villain, I couldn't believe it.
Just like Wayne's World, right?
It was so silly. It was so silly, but it was like at the end of the movie, like whatever, fine, just go ahead with it.
So can I watch part 3 without having to go back and looking at part 1 and 2? Can I just dive into 3?
You can watch any of these like on its own. Like I'd say 3 and 4 have like a little connective tissue of one particular aspect of Tom Cruise's character. But yeah, you can jump right into 3 without having seen 1 or 2.
Okay.
And the one thing I will say though, the detriment of 4 and 5 and probably 6, the first couple of movies, even though they were kind of clunky, the first 2, they're super secret spies that are supposed to be really good at their job. And one thing I appreciate they never really did is they never had the goofy side character. They never had, somebody go to another country and then not be able to speak the language or not be able to do their job or something like that. In fact, part 3 really deals with that. The idea of when are these agents ready? When are they capable to go out into the field and do their job? But from 3 on, Simon Pegg joins the cast, and he kind of becomes that goofy character. In 3, it's fine because he's a guy in the office. But from 4 on, he becomes one of the field agents, and he's doing the comedy side character thing of constantly talking too much and saying silly things, and you start wondering, like, why is this guy ready? The way he's acting, he doesn't act like a field agent. He does his job, but there's so many scenes of him being goofy. I was like, that's the balance is off now. I thought 3 handled it really well.
Okay.
And of course, you got to deal with the whole Tom Cruise is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, to his credit, though, he does a lot of his own stunts.
Okay.
And it's to the film's benefit that you don't have to cut to stuntman.
Tom Cruise does camera tricks. He does not do his own stunts. Camera tricks to make it look like he does his own stunts. He is not Jackie Chan or Burt Reynolds. He is Burt would do his own stunts. Damn it!
I'll say this: the movie looks good, and he does a number of these wacky stunts. They're staged in a way that he can do them.
What they do is they take Tom Cruise and they shoot him really, really fast, and he does something really, really slow, and then they just speed it up to real time. So it looks like he did something amazing, but he really just like.
It was not my intention to say that Tom Cruise is a great stuntman. I'm saying that it's shot in a way that it makes the film look better, where you're not cutting away to an obvious, well, we got to go back of the head for a stunt guy here kind of thing.
I have to correct something I said earlier before we get tons and tons of emails and complaints on Twitter. Lou Gehrig played 2,130 consecutive games. I get that mixed up with another number. 4,306 is what Tom Cheek, the number of games that he announced as the Blue Jays announcer consecutively. So I get those two numbers mixed up. So I just want to nip that in the bud before it gets out of control.
That's not going to help.
No, I'm going to get it.
All the hate mail is coming.
Yeah. All the baseball fans who listen to this show are getting ready to rightfully scold me.
No, nobody's listening to this episode.
No. I'm not even. I tuned out a while ago. Do we want to talk about some of the movies I watched, or do we need to wrap this up? I don't know. Sarah hasn't told me if supper's done yet. Okay. Well, I talked about being the Ricardos a little bit. It's a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. It has Javier Bardem as Ricky Ricardo and Nicole Kidman as Lucy. Both of them are up for Oscars for Best Actor, Best Actress. And, it was a pretty good movie, a little bit cheesy in some points. Oh, supper is leftovers, so I can take my time. That's right. Okay. It was a little bit cheesy, and some the movie builds up to like this one moment, and when you finally get to that moment, it's just a really cheesy payoff, just the way they did it. Um, it's one of those things like they wanted to reveal who the person was at the end. So it's like this really weird conversation that they have, and then they tell you who the person is, instead of like in reality, you would know who you were talking about at the start. So it was just kind of a little weird. But other than that, it was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed watching them going into Lucille Ball's head and how she would plan things out and that for comedy. Like the writers would give her scenarios and that, and she could like envision it, and really pick it apart as to what would be funny and what isn't. I really like that stuff. It reminded me a lot of Michael Jackson in that This Is It documentary, when a musician would come in and they would play him something and it would be like amazing. Like it would be a studio musician. He's like, okay, I got this for the song. And he'd play this thing and be like, holy crap, that's perfect. That sounds really great. And Michael Jackson would be like, that's really awesome, but I need you to do this, this, and this, and this. And then the guy would play it the way Michael Jackson would say it, and it would be even better. He just knew how to. So it kind of reminded me of that. The only thing is Nicole Kidman, like she does everything to sound and like she had all like the voice of Lucille Ball. She had the facial expressions and all that, but she doesn't look a thing like Lucille Ball. And like Lucille Ball, when she was doing that TV show, she was in her late 30s, early 40s, and Nicole Kidman's 54. She doesn't look a thing, and she's had a ton of plastic surgery. Like I understand Hollywood is really hard for women to stay in the business too. Like when you get older, they won't give you the plum parts and all that stuff. But she, with prosthetics and CG and stuff, they really could have helped her out to make her look a little more like Lucille Ball. So I found it a little hard to buy into Nicole Kidman as this character. Like, why would this character with all this modern plastic surgery on her face exist in the 1950s? It just looked a little bizarre. But
what do you want?
Well, I'm saying like they could have helped her out with they could have helped her out with some prosthetics or something like that. Like the stuff that they can do today, to make it look like her face doesn't move. It has no articulation in it because she's got so much plastic surgery in her face. It's not like I'm not trying to knock her. I'm just saying like it takes you out of the movie. Like you're trying to like escape into this thing and you got like this modern face that doesn't belong in the time and I don't know, they could have helped her out. That's all I'm saying. They should have helped her out a little. I watched this movie called the Power of the Dog. This one has Spider-Man's girlfriend in it, Tobey Maguire's girlfriend. What's her name? Kirsten
Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst.
She still does acting?
She still does acting, and she did acting in this movie, and she was actually pretty good in it. But the movie itself is boring, man. Oh my goodness, what a boring movie. I think it was one of those. It's adapted from a book, so I think it's one of those movies where it's a story that makes sense in a book because a lot of things are happening in the characters' heads in that, but they don't do the inner monologue in movies anymore, right? Where someone's just standing there and you can hear their voice inside their head. They don't do that anymore. And they have no way of kind of figuring out how to explain to a viewer, how to translate inner monologue to a viewer. So like a lot of stuff is just kind of missed. And it's just really a slow, I don't know, it wasn't very good. But it had the guy from Breaking Bad in it. The blonde guy from Breaking Bad. I can't remember his name.
Blonde guy?
Yeah, the guy that like he would just like kill people. He would like what the heck was his name?
The blonde guy.
Yeah. He was skinny at the beginning of Breaking Bad, and then he got fat towards the end of Breaking Bad. What's that guy's name?
The blonde guy?
Okay, forget it. Anyways,
Wait. No, I want to know who was the blonde guy. What
Jeez, they're gonna make me look it
did he
up.
work for somebody?
He worked
Does he
for
work like
he was a bit of a
Gustavo's?
loose cannon, right? He got in with Walter White at the end. You remember when they were in the desert and they were doing that thing with the train and the little bridge? Right, that
You're
guy.
talking
And then he
about
just
that guy.
right, and then the kid with
Okay,
the
Jesse
spoilers for
Plemons.
Breaking Bad. The little kid comes up on the bike and spots them. And, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
The tarantula. Jesse Plemons, I believe, is the actor's
There
name.
you go. That's his name. That guy. That guy's in it, and he was okay in it
He
too.
does a lot of stuff now. I can't believe he's really taken off.
He's got to have like an amazing team behind him because he seems to find his way into everything now. But yeah, he was pretty good in it. It was one of those movies that the acting was all good. Cumberbatch is in it as well, but it's just a really slow burn of a movie. I watched Luca, which is an animated film. It didn't really do anything for me. Didn't care too much for that one. Watched Belfast, which is a movie about Belfast. It takes place in the 1960s when the Catholics and Irish were all fighting with each other, and it's all in black and white. And it was good stuff. I enjoyed that one a lot. It has Dame Judi Dench in it. For some reason, she got an Oscar nom for the movie. I don't know why, because she's hardly in it. The actress who plays the mom in the movie, she was really good in it. And I don't know why she didn't get an Oscar. She should have got an Oscar nom for it. But I really enjoyed that one. Tried watching the new Dune. Couldn't get very far in it. I think we got an hour. I think we got a full hour.
The previous Dune movie?
Couldn't finish that one either. I didn't even get to Patrick Stewart in that movie.
Are you at all familiar with the Dune literature?
No.
Yeah, I watched that first Dune movie, and visually it's kind of interesting, some of the stuff they did, but yeah, I find it to be somewhat inaccessible. Like
it's boring. It was just so boring.
Yes, that's a good word for it.
Dull. Like I think my review on Letterboxd was Dune, more like dull. Anyways, it's not very good. I don't know. I didn't get it. It's all like this political space drama stuff, and they're fighting over this spice thing, and this one guy has like this amazing calling power thing. He's like what do they call that? He's like, I don't know, he's got the thing that's going to save the world or something like that. And now everyone's trying to move in on it before I don't know. I didn't understand what the heck was going on. I was so bored. We got a full hour in. I said to Sarah, do you understand what's going on? She's like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, I'm dropping this. This is terrible. All right.
Hey, Kyle's here.
Hey, Kyle. Thank you. He says, congratulations on 200. Okay.
You missed the Star Trek DVD. You got to go.
Oh, yeah. You got to rewind to all that Star Trek DVD talk. Okay. Now here comes the hard, heavy recommendation, because I'm going out with a bang. I absolutely adored this movie. I thought it was so terrific. The movie is called Summer of Soul, and it is a documentary. Basically, it's kind of referred to as the Black Woodstock. So in 1968, after Martin Luther King was assassinated, the city of New York was kind of looking for a way to kind of calm down the people of Harlem, who just happened to be Black. So what they decided to do in order to keep people to not burn up the city and keep them, give them something to do, basically, was for a number of 6 weekends in the summer of 1969, they had free concerts. The city put on free concerts for the Black community in Harlem, and all these Black musical acts, came to Harlem to perform for free in the park. And they shot everything, right? Like they shot all this stuff onto film because they knew that this was something like really, really special. That all these performances and that black musicians from all over to come do it. After the 6 weeks, and they had all this footage, they tried to take it and sell it to movie studios. And Woodstock was like the biggest movie at the time in like 1970, 71. It was huge. It was in theaters. It was making tons of money. And they were like, look, we got the black Woodstock here. Let's put the black Woodstock into theaters. Nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody wanted to do anything with it. They couldn't sell it because it was too black. So the thing sat in a vault or in someone's basement. In a vault. It sat in someone's basement for 50 years. This guy, Questlove, not sure if you know who he is, but he is like he's the founding member of the band Roots, who went on to be the house band for Jimmy Fallon when Jimmy Fallon took over the Tonight Show. Well, this guy hears the stories about this. It happened before he was born, right? He was born in 71, and this thing took place in 69. He hears these stories about this concert of all these black musicians, and he's like, man, I gotta find this footage if it still exists. And he finds it, and he made this movie. Let me tell you, this movie starts off within the first 5 minutes. It starts off with Stevie Wonder, a young Stevie Wonder in his 20s, going to town on a drum kit. The Blind Man just go like this amazing drum solo, and from that point on, it just never let me go. It's just all these wonderful musicians performing, and it's all about like the tone of everything that was happening at the time, mixed in with all these musical performances, and it was so great. It was just a beautiful movie. Like at the time in 69, in the summer of 69, man was landing on the moon, and they would go and ask like all these reporters would go in and ask all these people like, hey, what do you think about man landing on the moon? And to these people who were living in poverty, they were like, yeah, that's great and everything, but how about something for us, because everything's kind of shit down here on Earth. So it was a great, like, they would interview like white people, and white people would be like, oh, all of humanity's come together at this one great moment. And then they interview the black people, and they're like, yeah, well, we're kind of being, left aside here. So it was great. It was good. You had a bunch of some musicians I had never heard of before, some musicians I heard of but had never seen perform before, or really like connected as to who was, with what music. They had them, like the musicians who were still alive, they had and did like current interviews with them. People who attended the concert as children. By the way, everybody aged like so well. Like everybody looks like as if like the movie, like there was one guy who was like, yeah, I was 19 when I went to the movie. They go to his like current day, and he looked like he's 45. He looked like he was like a few years younger than me. But anyways, it was great. You had so there was Stevie Wonder, B.B. King, Nina Simone, The Fifth Dimension. I couldn't name them all. I'd be forgetting a ton of them, but it's on Disney Plus right now. If you have Disney Plus, ABC actually aired it because it's ABC is owned by Disney and that, and they really wanted to push this movie. I do hope it's up for best documentary. I think it should have been up for best picture. I thought it was so great.
Now, is this one of those categories that's not going to be shown? I saw something of how the Oscars are eliminating, they're not showing certain categories on their live coverage or whatever.
Yes.
For some reason.
I don't believe I did not see documentary on there. I would have been a little more upset from reading that if documentary was not being televised. But I don't really care too much about the Oscars. But it is it's a moment for those guys to shine. I saw that thing too, where Patton Oswalt basically tweeted out at the Academy, and a bunch of other celebrities jumped on about basically how ABC is hacking up the show because the ratings for the Oscars have fallen by the wayside because it's all about the pageantry and stuff like that. Really, that's what the show is about, right? It's about people seeing the stars come out, what they're wearing, hear them and see them in a different setting. the magic of that is completely gone with the internet and social media. Now you can see celebrities everywhere. You don't have to like you used to have to wait. Like you'd saw Marilyn Monroe, you'd see her in the movies, and if you wanted to see her in anything else, you'd have to wait for the Oscars to come on to see her in any other setting. You know, she wasn't on TV shows and stuff like that. She wasn't accessible. Like now, celebrities, they're just everywhere. You can follow them. They follow me on Twitter. You know, like they follow they're just everywhere. You don't need the pageantry of that show anymore. I don't understand why they don't just like there's so many channels and so many ways to show this stuff. Why they just don't air it on one of their other channels? You know, why don't they just so like Patton Oswalt was basically calling them out because they're cutting down the show to only like the major categories. And Patton Oswalt's point was that all these categories that they're cutting out, like editing and sound design and makeup, are actually as important as the other categories that they're airing when it comes to making a movie. It's just that you don't get a celebrity attached to it, you know?
Right.
Which fair enough, but I mean, they could just air it on something.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just shows they're pandering to the people that want to see the pretty dresses and
Right.
like, oh, look, there's so and so. Isn't
Yeah.
he handsome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, he is right. Like we do like because I think it's a lot of it is because the lines are blurred. It's like the job titles are really blurred when it comes to a movie. Sometimes an executive producer for a movie does the lion's share of the work. Sometimes an executive producer is just a guy who gave them some money.
They put their name on the
Right. And it's like, oh, hey, if you give us $100,000 to do this scene, we'll make you an executive producer so you get a little bit of the back end.
right.
So that's part of the problem, you know. Sometimes the director is like so hands-on, and once the movie is all done, they go and sit in the edit room and sit beside the editor, and they are in every single scene. Other times they're like, hey, I trust you, editor. You go ahead and do the whole thing. I don't even want to know. So that's part of the problem is that like there's no like people don't really understand like what the set rules are, you know, like even a director, like we said it so many times, sometimes not everybody's Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg has a vision. He wants to make a movie, and then he gets the best people on the planet together to make a movie. Then there's other people like what's that guy that does the Transformers movies? What's his name?
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. Michael Bay's like the studio says, Michael Bay, make us the you know, just make some crap, make it like popcorn fodder. And he's like, okay, and that's his job. And that's what he does, you know. So I think that's part of the problem is that people don't really understand what the lines are, and maybe you need more people like Patton Oswalt to speak up and say what they are. But anyways,
Oh, it's nice when people have a vision.
you got to be tired of hearing me talk by now. You got to be ready to move on with your life.
What do I do? Show up here to do this.
I'm sick of hearing myself talk. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, there was one more movie that I had on my list, and I have it right here.
You talking, I'll sit.
Win-Win.
Oh, what's that?
It's a little movie from 2011, and it's got Paul Giamatti. There he is. Look at it. There's a little Paul Giamatti right there.
Oh,
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I recommend checking it out. It's a little independent movie. It plays independent movie music, so it sounds the way you expect it to. And it's little people having drama and interactions, and they act like real people. And it's pretty good. Jeffrey Tambor's in it too. Before he was in Scandals, right? Before it was probably before Scandals.
yeah. Yeah.
Burt Young is in this.
He yelled at Jessica Walter, which is it's never good.
I don't know, but I recommend it. It's pretty good.
Look at this. We got a nice comment here. Amiibo discussion, Trek talk, music review, movie chat. Kevin telling Richard, "I told you so." Googling information during podcast. All classic retro Fandango. Keep it up, guys. There you go. That's a 200 episode right there.
Yeah.
We just did all of our greatest hits in 2 hours.
Or nothing if not consistent.
Boom. Pig vomit. Yes.
And then comes
Paul
up with
Giamatti.
Big Vomit.
Yeah. Okay. Join us on the Discord channel, the Retro Fandango Discord channel. If you need a link or you need a thing to get to it, just hit me up on the Twitter or whatever. And if you need to get a hold of us on the Twitter, we're at retro_Fandango. You don't want to miss out on that Discord because you get to see all of Richard's movies that he's been watching. And
Yes, I don't talk about them all on the show.
excuse me, Kyle, if you would have tuned in from the beginning, you would have known that we did indeed complain about Star Wars. Thank you very much.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, and if you
One
want to
of
know
the very
why or
first
how,
things.
you're gonna have to watch the whole. You're gonna have to go back because I'm not repeating myself.
Mhm.
There you go. We hit it all, baby. There was nothing left. I mean, it would have been nice to bring back the soundboard, but just the way it goes here. But you
Owner. You bite a baby.
you bite the baby. Forgot about that.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. We're done. Goodbye, everybody. See you in episode 201 at some point.
Mm-hmm.